day has finally came. I made my first $200 as a new-time filmmaker. It's really a funny story because it did not go as planned at all. Before we jump into that, I want to tell you why I would like to become a full-time filmmaker and videographer. 2 years ago, I bought my first official camera and started a YouTube for my service business that I currently work on now. Since that first upload, I've completely fallen in love with filmmaking, every single aspect of it. My passion for this craft has just grown ever since. I own and operate a service business that takes up all of my time. I literally don't have any time for much else besides my family and sleeping. So with that being said, I cannot just dive right into this new endeavor. I need to make it a smooth transition financially. And that leads us into another issue. This filmmaking and videography needs to work out. The service business was a huge blessing and an answered prayer at one point, but for the last 2 years, I've been completely drained of this service business. I'm totally burnt out and I cannot take it much longer. I'm not doing what I truly love anymore and it's just eating away at me day by day. I'm also not getting any younger, so juggling around career paths is just not something I can take lightly anymore. As far as 2024 goes, the plan is to dedicate 8 to 12 days each month to strictly business and capturing the journey for you guys here on YouTube. I'll also be breaking down cameras, equipment, and just little things and pieces of knowledge that have helped me grow in this community that could potentially help you guys. So if you want to follow along for the journey and this interests you and this is right up your alley, consider joining the page. I mainly want it to be like a hub here for all aspiring creators and filmmakers. I know what it's like being completely new to this space and not having a clue about some of the stuff that you'll run into, so I want it to be a community where we can all learn something from each other. If you're still with me, let's jump back into that first paid gig story. I posted on a local Facebook group, pretty much a free to fee service post. I was just offering people free content shoots, maybe 1 to 2 short form videos, and if they liked what they got, then we can go over packages and discuss further. So a lady that owned a free Montessori preschool actually reached out to me from that post, and she was really interested in me creating some free content for her. But before we could even get to the free content shoot, she messaged me again and she said, "Hey, we have a holiday play going on with the kids. I was just wondering if I can actually hire you and you can capture this moment of these kids doing a sequence of little preschool plays." So I explained to her that I'm very new. I'm not officially in business. I don't have my business license yet for this endeavor. I gave her the whole rundown on I'm still learning my craft and this and that and this and that. So I didn't want her expectations to be crazy high, so I kind of lowered the standard and kind of waited to see how she would go from there. She sent me the previous video of who they hired before, and let's just say I was confident that I could do a much better job. So that's why I agreed to do this job and move forward with a gig. Before you guys grill me in the comments, I know it was a low price. I know I could have got more, but just hear me out. I really did it just to get my feet wet and feel that experience of doing my first paid gig. At this point, you're probably thinking, oh, sounds like a super easy gig. You probably nailed it. Not much to go wrong there. Well, you're actually wrong. So the first huge thing I learned from this experience was show up a little bit earlier than you anticipated. I planned on showing up early regardless, but I only gave myself about 20 to 30 minutes to actually set up, and it just was not enough time. So for future reference, I'm definitely going to give myself like 45 minutes to an hour. Depending on the shoot, that will range. But I think borderline bare minimum for whatever I do, I need at least 45 minutes. So issue number 2 was not having a monitor, was not using the monitor that I had on me, but I didn't get to use it because I forgot a tiny clip that attaches my monitor to the top of my camera at home. So that was out of the question. I did not want to sit there for an hour and a half and hold a monitor in my hand, so I opted out. Fast forward to looking at the footage, I really wish I would have just sat there with a monitor in my hand and watched it the whole time, because as the kids were doing their little plays, they had some parents and teachers as instructors, and when the parents jumped in front of the screen and instructed the kids, it was focusing on their behinds and their backside of them, and the kids were going completely out of focus. I could not tell because I did not have a bigger monitor. I couldn't see that it was doing this on the camera's monitor. It just looked all fine and dandy until I got home and put it on the computer. It was only for little moments here and there. This is why I set my expectations super low with her. It didn't really ruin the video. It's just very few times that the parents jump in and out. It just focuses on the parents. But if I would have had this monitor equipped, I wouldn't have ran into that issue. So yeah, what sounds like a super simple gig turned out to not be so super simple. So the main reason I even wanted to create this video in the first place was just to remind you guys, don't be scared to jump into something as a complete rookie. When I say that, I don't mean just buy equipment and buy your gear and go to your first gig. Obviously, you do not want to do that. You want to get familiar with your camera. You want to learn the ins and outs of your camera and your exposure triangle and stuff like that. You want to nail that stuff, but there's going to be a point in time where you know that stuff and you're still scared to just take that next step. Fear and doubt will keep you from taking that first step for the rest of your life if you do not just punch it in the face and move forward. I'm actually filming this video on New Year's night, so I'm sure you'll be able to hear this grand finale of fireworks going off in the background. It is midnight. I do apologize for that. So don't be scared, you guys, to chase that uncomfortable feeling. That's where you are going to grow the most, whether it's in business, your personal life. Just chase that uncomfortable feeling and you will not regret it. Along your journey, you're going to hear much more noise about how something will not work out in your favor rather than how it will work out for you. So put all the noise to the side and just put one foot in front of the other. Repeat as often as necessary until you guys succeed.